6 if you have any questions. Okay, Jeff, text me if it breaks up for any reason. We'll go through this, and at the end, I'll be happy to go through a couple of actually go online and show you the e-app if you need me to, or I can show you the back office for you folks that want to do that. Like I said, it's some time. It's a little after 10. It probably take 45 minutes, so hopefully we can be in and out here an hour. Because if you're like me, you're ADD and you probably lose interest, and we don't want to do that. Okay, so I'm going to mute everybody.
Muted.
Okay, I've got everybody muted. *6. The one thing I always ask is, you want to ask a question, and if you'll just hold to the next screen, you may find that we will cover that. So sometimes it's if you just wait till the next screen, or hold your question for the end. I'll stay. My day is wide open today. I can stay as long as anybody wants me to on the call within reason, and we'll go through and answer your questions. We want to make sure that everybody's question gets answered if you have one, because if we don't answer yours, somebody else may have the same question. We're going to talk about the Health Choice Select, okay, which is our new product. Again, if you got a question, *6, okay, and be happy that way we cut out the background noise. The Health Choice Select is our newest product, okay. It is not our only product. The Health Saver Plus is our sister product, which we still offer. It works primarily the same as the Health Choice with just a few differences. I'm not going to go into that today, but the reason I tell you that because I know we got a lot of folks on the phone from across the country. And what I want to tell you is in Oregon, Ohio, and North Carolina, you see those states are highlighted, this product is not approved in those states. And as you can see, in those states, if you're selling in any one of those three states, you're going to have to sell the HSP3. For you folks that say, I'm in those states, it's my primary market, what you need to do is probably reach out to your manager, or you can reach out to me, and I'll do a separate training on that. It won't take long. It just works a little bit different, but it's a good product. We just wanted to change up the focus and enhance, the benefits with the new product. So this is our newest product right now. And again, for you folks that are selling with other companies and comparing, I think we're the leader in the industry. And not only I think we are the leaders in the industry, I know we are because we can move very, very quickly. Jeff, my partner on the phone, I work with him. Jeff, he's in Houston. He can testify because he's there every day and does a wonderful job and can tell you we move very, very quickly. And we're actually working on new enhancements and better things for the agents. So I want to let you know that. Okay, I'm going to probably go through most of the screens. I may fast forward through a few of them, but like this one, I'll highlight what we're selling here. We're not selling a major medical. That's no shock. We're selling an indemnity plan. It's really more than an indemnity plan because we're selling a program. We like to call it the Health and Income Protection Program, which is built around our main flagship product, which is our hospital surgical indemnity plan. Okay. So the main thing you need to understand in the hospital section, the hospital indemnity section, these are fixed benefits. Now, some people in the business have trouble with that terminology because they're used to the old major med. You got copays and deductibles, and you got stop loss, right? That's the copay. That's the major medical type products. These are not major medical. These are defined benefit. Now, what do I mean defined? They're defined by how much the person purchases. It's a bucket of money, and based on their needs and their premium they want to pay, Bills puts money in a bucket for them to use in the hospital for hospitals charges, outpatient charges, and doctor's office visits. So it's really up to the client, with the agent's help, to build a bucket of money or a platform that's going to work for them. Okay. This is what we're going to cover today. Now, why am I showing you this? Agents that are on the phone need to know we don't particularly want you just to think of this as I'm going to sell a health insurance plan. It is more than a health insurance. It is a health and income protection for our clients. Many of our clients are individual business people, plumbers, barbers, you guys can painters and go on down the road. But we have a lot of small independent business people that have one or two employees. And they're not going to do ACA type plans, and they need these kind of programs. And so we want you to think of it as selling other plans with it so that it helps protect the client, not only if they have a hospital claim, but by selling our accident and our critical illness law, it's lump sum benefit that can help them, because if a business guy's out of business for a month, they still have expenses, right? So it's a program, and we're gonna ask that you take their budgets and build around that budget. Okay, so we're going to give you a lot of choices. The health plan itself has a $5 million lifetime maximum for policy. Now, what does that mean? That means for each health plan, HCS, that you sell, they have a $5 million cap for each policy. Now, that can be one person on a policy, or that can be 5 people on a policy. No matter how many on a policy, that policy itself only has only a $5 million lifetime max per policy. That's a lot of coverage. Okay, 3 annual maximum benefit options to choose from, and I'm going to show you those in a second. So you've got at the high level, think of it as at the policy level, you got $5 million. Now you're going to drill down one level. We're going to put a little bit of a cap on that, and that's going to be $100,000, $250,000, $250,000, or $1 million per person per calendar year. Okay, that'll be the annual max you'll select from. Okay, to work with the client. Now, what does that mean? That means now you're able to build a plan that meets their budget, because it's not one price fits all. We're gonna allow you the option of meeting their financial needs as well as their budget. And budget, it doesn't matter how good you build something if they can't afford it. And then 3 benefit options. We'll show you that. Now, what do I mean by that? That means there's a good, better, and best. Okay, there's 3 different programs you can buy within that. So you got 3 calendar year max, and under that you got 3 benefit options, and I'll show you those. We like to call it good, better, or best, but I'll show them to you in a second. So what I'm saying to you is we're really going to don't get confused. It's not that hard, because you do an e-app when you're doing all the quoting pieces. So when you're meeting their budget and it's really pretty easy, actually. But my point is there's a lot of options that you as the agent have to help the client meet their financial needs. Okay, that's what's important. They can use any doctor, any hospital without a penalty. Now, why is that? Because remember, I said these are fixed benefits. I'm going to show you based on their purchase, how much they purchase. That's how much, if they go in the hospital for one day, that will trigger a payment, and that'll be a fixed payment based on how much they bought. It doesn't matter if they're in an inpatient hospital or an outpatient hospital. There's no penalty if they go out of network. And the reason is it's a fixed benefit. Now, I'll show you where, if they're smart and they want to, save out of pocket dollars, and in some cases I'll show you where people have actually made money. I'm not advocating that, but where they've actually made money because they're fixed benefits. If they go in network, I'll show you some plans that are dramatically reduced, and not many, but in some situations, they actually put money in their pocket, which is unheard of. You're not going to put money in your pocket with a major medical. So if you're a smart consumer, these products work really, really well for you. Okay, so the network is PHCS, big network. We use it actually for Jeff and I use it. We're both employees at the company, and we use it because that's who provides very, very strong network. Okay, Teledoc is added for you guys. We'll go through that. By the way, we got Teledoc when I went to Dr. Chin, as our chairman, CEO, president. I said, Doc, here's a really good program. He not only liked it so much, he said, I'm going to offer it to the employees because I think it's good for the employees, and it keeps the costs controlled. So there's no cost. We provide it at no cost to the policyholder. Now, just so you're clear, we pay for that. It's not free. If it's free, you got to wonder how good it is, rent a car or whatever, because it's a free benefit. No, we pay for Teledoc as a company, but we think it's such a good value-added product that we want to add it for the customer, and I'll show you how well that works. Script Save is a discount card. I'll show you that. You all got or have access to discount cards through GoodRx and others. So, but I'll show you how to use it. It is included as well. And then the Caris Group, who also is an excellent a benefit or value-added service. I'll show you how they work. We actually pay for that as well. So it's free to the customer. And they do a great job, by the way. And then agents, remember I mentioned we don't want you selling just one policy. We want you selling a platform or program, health and income protection. So you've got the optional accident plan that you can sell with it. We've got a life insurance rider. People have asked for burial type insurance. We got a life rider that's about $20 for a family. That covers up to $50,000 for the primary insured should they die. And then the critical illness is a cancer, heart attack, stroke benefit that I'll show you, and dental. Now, the nice thing is, by the way, dental is a fully insured dental plan. The nice thing about the accident and the CI and the dental, as you probably can imagine, we pay higher commissions on that. So now, whatever commission level you're on, typically that's going to, it's going to be a blended commission because we're going to add a higher accident CI dental plan, which pays higher commission. So it's good for you, the agent, and you probably a really good program for the customer. Okay, so we got the $5 million down. That doesn't change. That's built in. The second option, and this is where you start drilling down, and this is where you help the customer be able to lower the premium or adjust the premium to make it affordable. Okay, they can pick $100,000 per person on the policy per calendar year, $250,000 per person calendar year, or $1 million. Now, let me tell you, the biggest claim that I think we've ever paid since 2010 has been about $235,000. Now, remember, if we're going to pay $250,000, which you see is checked there, we're talking about a reprice. Let's talk about a claim that's $300,000 or $400,000. Y'all know that these claims get reduced 30, 40%. Okay, it's just a fact. And the bigger the claim, the more the reduction. So if you've got a $350,000 or $400,000 claim and it gets repriced 30% or whatever the number, and I'll show you some of those real numbers in a minute, it's down to the $250,000 now. So it's not going to happen. I strongly suggest that you don't sell the $1 million, that you take the extra premium that it's going to cost you to sell the $1 million, and you add the accident or CI, because those are first dollar type payments that they're going to need and they're going to use. Okay, I'm going to show you something. That only 30% of the people ever go in the hospital on our plan. 70% of the people never enter the hospital. So why are you selling a $1 million hospital type benefit when it only affects 30% of the people or less? Okay, so think of it as a bucket of money. We fill the bucket up when you sell the plan. Every January 1st, we put the amount of money in the bucket that they purchased, be it the units, the number of units, and the calendar year max. And then as they're eligible benefits, we take money out of the bucket, okay? It's January 1st, we refill it. Now, why is that good? Because most policies, major medicals, used to be you refill it every January or every anniversary date. So if you sold it today, which is March 9th, it would go for until next March 9th. That would be the year. Well, ours is not that way. It's calendar year. So if you sell a policy today at $250,000, they've got $250,000 for the rest of the year, and in January 1, they got another $250,000. If you sell them in December, they've only got 1 month for the $250,000, and then the next month they get another $250,000. So that's how that works, which is really nice. Now, this is the brochure that you're looking at. It's going to be in 3 sections, and we'll go through each 3. These are the fully insured benefits. This is directly from the brochure, as I mentioned. The brochure is available to each agent once you get your writing number. And by the way, it will start with a 6. It's a 9-digit number that starts with a 6. Once you get your writing number, you will go to our agent back office. Anybody that wants to go into detail on that, if you don't know, I can walk you through at the end of this presentation. But it will be New Era Life, which is our parent company. NEWERALIFE. NewEraLife.com is the web portal. You're going to go for everything because that's our parent company. And when you go to that web page, up at the upper middle, you'll see Agent Portal. Click on the Agent Portal. That's where you'll log in, and you agents will be able to see your commissions, your pending business, your issued business, your block of business. You'll have sales forms. That's where our e-app is. So if you want to submit or quote business, you'll all go into that Agent Portal. So again, NewEraLife.com. So that's where I'm getting this document. It comes directly under sales forms when you log in, okay? By the way, agents, if you need supplies, it's very important. If you need supplies, brochures typically, because we don't want to produce a bunch of apps because you don't need it. You got an e-app now. But if you look on the left side of that page, when you go to New Era Life and the Agent Portal and log in, you'll see one of the banners or headings that says supplies. You click on the supply form, download it, and if you'll complete the supply form and send it in under at the number at the bottom or fax it in, they'll ship your supplies directly to you. So it's all available to you. And I just asked, we normally do 25 of each. And if somebody's going to have a show that you're going to, you could ask for more. But typically, if it's over 25, we like to just send 25 because we don't want people lying in the trunk of their car. Okay? All right, so this is the first section. This is the hospital facilities. Okay, what do we pay? Well, you guys can see, and I'm going to, if you guys are selling indemnity plans now, I think you're going to find that this is one of the richest plans. If you're not, you're going to learn that this is not just the old indemnity that pays $200, $300, $400 a day. These are very, very rich plans with extremely good benefits. Okay, so the next thing you're going to pick, we picked our calendar year max of $250,000. That's what we chose. Now we've gone into the actual benefits, the 1, 2, or 3 units. Why do we call it 1 year? 2 or 3 units. And if I asked Jeff, Jeff would say that's because the chairman of the board or Dr. Chin likes to call them units, and that's what we're going to call them. Some people, we've got some agencies that actually market the plans, and they've actually given them a name like a bronze, a platinum, and whatever. We had a lady has an agency, and she likes emerald, ruby, and sapphire. So anyway, you can call it what you will. We call it as a company 1, 2, or 3 units, good, better, or best, whatever you want to call it. But you're going to see why. So when you choose the number of units, that is also going to drive the price. Obviously, the higher the units, the more the cost. 3 units is our richest plan and our most costly plan, so it's pretty obvious. Remember something, I'm going to point out a few things because I've had agents ask me this when I do training, okay? They say, do you pay these benefits every day? Well, it says the plan will pay the daily indemnity benefit for. So if they're in the hospital as a result of a sickness, and I typically like to go through when we're talking about these training, I do the 2 unit because 60+% of our business is 2 units. That's the sweet spot, as they say. Okay, so the sickness benefits, the 2 units is $3,000 a day. They go in the hospital, they buy the 100% plan, and they're in the hospital for 2 days. They got a sickness. For the hospital benefit, it's $6,000. 2 times $3,000 is obviously 6, and if they're in an injury, 2 times $6,000 is $12,000. Okay. Now, what does that mean? That means that covers the hospital room. That's and I say this because I had a call last week. They said, well, what about if they're on an IV? Or what about if they get blood? Or what about, I said that covers everything that they do in the hospital room. That's everything. That's the hospital benefit. If they do an MRI while they're in the hospital, we're going to pay the $3,000. If they do what about if they bring a toothbrush? What about if they charge for a phone? And that $3,000 is for everything related to the hospital charges, okay? Very important. That's the facility fee. Okay, what about if they go to ICU, the second column? Very, very clear. If they go to ICU, we're going to pay, at the 2 unit plan, you guys drop down there sickness, $4,500. Now, we're not going to pay $3,000 and the $4,500. We're just going to pay the higher benefit, okay, the IC, and I say just, pretty good, $4,500 a day for ICU at 2 units for sickness. All right, we will do that for up to 20 calendar days per calendar year. And on the 21st day, what we would do, if it's within the same calendar year, we would drop down to the $3,000, the hospital confinement benefit, $3,000 above it. So if they're in there more than 20 days, we don't cut them off. We just drop down to this benefit, which still is a darn good benefit, right? Okay, now we've covered the hospital piece. Let's talk about the mental illness or substance abuse. If somebody goes in there for this benefit, they go to the hospital for these, we pay $200, $400, $600 per day for the facility. Rehab, again, $1,500 at 2 units a day for a rehab facility. Now, let me give you a real example of that. I live in actually Dallas, and we have Baylor Hospital. And what happened, we had a lady that was 60 years old, and she had double knee replacement at Baylor, and she had nobody home to take care of her, to wash her, bathe her, feed her, and all that stuff. So the doctor said, I'm going to send you for 2 weeks down the street to our rehab facility, and it's a rehab facility for part of Baylor down the street. And in that scenario, at 2 units, we paid $1,500 a day for the rehab facility. Okay, very important. So they don't just drop them off, and they're out of luck. Okay, outpatient radiation or chemotherapy. That's the next benefit. These are all included with the price. Now, let me tell you why that's so important. Everybody on this call knows somebody that's had or they had cancer, they've gone through cancer. We know that. And this day and age, cancer is so much different in treatment than it used to be. Most cancers today are treated on an outpatient basis. You all know that, okay? They don't go put you in the hospital for. The only thing I know, we did have, Jeff probably know this, we had one of our employees who'd been there a long time at the company, and she had I think she had some type of Hodgkin's, it doesn't matter what it was. Anyway, she required a stem cell for a week. Well, because of the chance of her immune system being affected, they had to keep her in isolation in the hospital for a week because they brought everything down in her system. They were giving her these stem cells. That's a different scenario. But 95% of all cancers, you guys know this too, are treated outpatient. So this is why this is a huge benefit. 2 units, we're going to pay $1,500 per day for treatment. It doesn't matter how many doses they give them. It doesn't matter If it's only $1,000 a day, if they can find a facility, a good facility, and they charge less than $1,500, you know what? Jeff would tell you this. They get to keep anything over, or I'm sorry, yeah, but they get anything in their pocket between what the charges is and the $1,500 of 2 units. So if they go to the facility, it's $1,000 a day per treatment for the cancer, and they got 2 units, they literally would put $500 in their pocket. Okay? All right, so now you probably are getting where I'm trying to take you, and I'll show you some examples. These plans work well for people who want a relatively good health, okay? Secondly, are willing to listen, and I don't use the word shop, but are willing to be active participants. And what do I mean by that? That will, excuse me, in Dallas, you don't want to run down to Baylor Hospital. In, excuse me, in Houston, you don't want to run down to Memorial Hermann, because they're the highest charges in the area. And there's others. Vanderbilt is very expensive. And there's others throughout the country. And again, I'll show you a list of some of those. And there are alternatives, okay? So we're going to show you that. They have to be actively engaged, and we're helping in home office, helping direct them or give them information on where they can go to get services where you don't have to run to a local hospital, because that's what Dr. Smith said to do. There's other options or whatever. Okay. So the hospital at the bottom, the outpatient hospital ambulatory surgical center benefit, that's outpatient surgery. That's somebody who needs an outpatient surgical procedure. It is covered in the outpatient hospital or in the ambulatory surgical center. Now, let me kind of go through and give you some illustrations of what that would be. First of all, a colonoscopy. A colonoscopy is typically done in my area, and a lot of areas now, there's these freestanding clinics where they'll do the colonoscopy. You don't go to the hospital to have a colonoscopy. You go to one of these clinics who specializes in that. It's considered ambulatory surgical. Okay, at 2 units, at a colonoscopy, and they found the polyp. At 2 units, we'd pay $3,000 for the facility. We would pay additional for the surgery, but the facility itself would be $3,000. If they don't find a polyp, then I'll show you the benefit that's paid later on, and that's considered a preventive or wellness checkup. But if they do find a polyp, then it isn't one, a surgery, and 2, they found something, so there's a diagnosis there. And most people know, good or bad, they usually find at least one polyp when they do these colonoscopies, okay? But think of this, appendectomies, these are things they used to do for us old-timers. You had to go in the hospital for a couple of days to have an appendectomy or tonsillectomy or cataracts. Guys, cataracts used to be a hospital. A gallbladder was a 4 or 5 day hospital stay back years ago. Everybody knows this. They do this stuff outpatient. Anybody that, like Jeff, a 30-year-old guy, he probably thinks I'm making this up, because you wouldn't think about somebody having a gallbladder taken out and having to go in the hospital 3 or 4 days. Well, it used to be that way. But science and medicine has gotten so good that there's a lot of procedures now that are done outpatient. So that's where it's going to fall. If it's under general anesthesia, 2 units of $3,000. There's other minor things that they can do where they don't put you under general anesthesia. It pays typically about half the benefit. You guys can see the $1,500. Okay? So now we've covered the facilities, the hospitals, and the outpatient treatment and surgical. Now we're going to jump in, and this is probably the easiest and quickest to go through. We're going to talk about what is the surgical benefit. Anybody on this call, and I think we've got a lot of American senior folks, agents on the line, they sell a lot of Medicare. Well, this is how easy this is. The surgical benefits for these plans is tied directly to the Medicare schedule in the provider's location. So we pay the same as Medicare at 1 unit. That's what that means. If you sell the 2-unit plan, as we've been talking about, that means we pay twice the Medicare allowed in the provider's location. So if they're taking 1 times Medicare, they're going to take 2. Okay? So anyway, and why are we doing this? Well, this is one of the ways, and you probably, if you guys are close to it, have been reading the news and hearing what's going on in Washington and other places, the model that we've had for years, a major medical model, where we just pay whatever they charge, and you might throw a network in there, is not working. And that's why the government failed in 2010, 2011, and thank God they did, but they failed to bring in some kind of option, which we all know is ACA, and it failed pretty badly. It didn't work. So we don't know what's going to happen long term. We know that Washington's trying to figure that out. But, you're hearing about this, and this is one of the things they keep talking about, is, you know what? Why don't we do a Medicare for all, and that way you can control the prices? Because you can't just control the insurance benefits. You have to control the providers, because everybody knows hospitals and doctors have been charging whatever they want. There's no scale. They can charge anything they want. And it's the only other thing that we buy that I know of where we don't know what the price is before you go in, right? Who would go buy a car if you didn't know how much it was going to cost you? Or even if you go to Walmart or Kroger or any other store that's in your area and pick something off the shelf, typically you may have your favorites. You buy the Campbell soup because you like Campbell soup. But you know what? Typically you're going to know, and in stores I go to, the price is there. You know how much you're paying for it, right? And I'm an old marketing guy, and so I'll look at I even got my wife doing this. 10 ounces of something or 20 ounces, and sometimes the 20-ounce container is only about 30% more on price. Well, why not go ahead and spend it, even because you're saving so much money and getting more for your dollar, your per unit cost, so to speak. And so we got to start thinking about that, and that's what these plans do. It's kind of back to the future, guys. These plans were the ones that were sold in 1970, 1980, and again, when the copays and HMOs and all came in, it just kind of messed up the system. And so, in 2011, I wonder for 2010, our government stepped in and thought they were going to fix it. So anyway, the surgical benefit, as you see, is 2 units, is 2 times the Medicare schedule. Pathology and radiology, same thing. 2 units is 2 times. Physician's care is where the doctor comes in the room in the hospital and walks around, picks up your chart, says how you feeling, have you gone to the bathroom, what's your pain threshold. Okay, at 2 units, we give them $100 or her $100 per day for that. Assistant surgeon is 20% of what we allow for the surgery, and the anesthesiologist is 25% of what we allow for the surgeon. Okay? That's the second piece of the fully insured program. The third piece are the outpatient benefits. These are all included, by the way, when you give them a price. So you sell a 2-unit plan, they're going to get 2 units all the way through. There's no mixing or matching. It's 2 units all the way through. Okay, the first benefit that you see at the top, the 2, 4, 6,000, is a separate calendar year max. So we have a separate calendar year max. Remember, we have the 250 if they do surgery or facilities, it's 250,000. Over here, they have a separate cap of $4,000 at the 2 units. So each person on the plan has $4,000 if they have a 2-unit plan of outpatient benefits listed below. Okay. The first benefit, daily outpatient physician, what is that? That's the doctor's office visit. Okay, pretty straightforward. Probably in most situations, that's the first question an applicant / policyholder, soon to be policyholder, will ask you. They're going to say, well, if I go to the doctor, how much do I pay? Okay, great question. And here's your answer. All these charges right here, and by the way, I know some agents do their own pitch. I like going through the brochure. That's what's going. I think it's a good visual for people, for you folks that sell online. I know some of our most successful agents that sell only online actually do join me, or I'm using iBoomerang. But a lot of these agents have their own website, and they say, Mr. Smith, I need you to go online and log in, and they go through just exactly like I'm going, so the client sees it. I think it's a visual. I think you can't tell them what I'm doing. They have to see it. I think it's so much more important for them to see it. It'll stick better, too. Okay, so what are the benefits if it's 20 days? Now, remember, everything on this page is not a copay. There's no copay on this page. Typically, you see the prescriptions, people think, oh, that's a copay. I only pay. No, these are the benefits that they're going to fill in that bucket that we're going to pay, okay? So the limited 20 benefit days, what is that? That means they have 20 doctor's office visits per day per person. That is astronomical. No other competitor is doing that. Our competitors, some have 3, some have 5. That's typically our closest competitor offers 5 per person per year. And that one particular company, which the big company says if you don't use them, you can carry over up to 5. So they're going to give you 10. We give everybody on the plan 20 days per calendar year. That means if they buy it December 1st, they have 20 days to use at doctor's visits in December, and as of January 1st, it's going to start over. So for illustration purposes, it's just unbelievable. And 6 of those, now this is important, 6 of those 20 can be used at chiropractors. So what does that mean? That means if I use 6 chiropractic visits per day, Collette, that I only got 14 days of benefits. I say I've got a remaining 14 days of benefits left for that calendar year for the doctor's visits. Okay. Now, what does it pay? It pays $80. At 2 units, you're going to get $80. Now, what does that mean? That means if I walk in and I go to the doctor, I'm covered. The company's going to give me $80 to spend there. If it's 100, I'm out 20, and you guys can do the math. This is where now you're going to see if you're going to go in the network, it's smart because it's going to get repriced. If the doctor, you like your doctor, Dr. Smith's out of network, that's okay. But what I would do if it's out of network is say, look, Dr. Smith, I'm going to come to you. Yes, I have insurance, but for ease and time, what I'd like to do is I'd like to pay for this office visit myself. Okay, and then all I'm going to ask you for is a copy of the bill. I'll do, and that terminology is what we call private pay. I'll do private pay, put it on my card. You know what they'll give you? Unbelievable discounts. Typically, they'll give you better discounts than you're going to get from the network. Now, why would that be? Because if they go through the network and they're agreed to do that, they're a provider in network, they still have to go through and file the claim, which is not that hard. It goes to the insurance company. It goes through actually a third party to get repriced. It goes to the insurance company. The insurance company then pays the doctor. Well, you guys all know that can be that whole scenario from the time they file it. It goes to a third party vendor. That goes to us because we don't get it directly. We reprice it, then we send the benefit out. That could be 3 or 4 weeks by the time the doctor gets the money back through that whole process. Okay? If I'm private pay and I walk in there and say, here's my credit card, I'm going to pay today, what kind of discount are you going to give me? They're going to give me a better discount because why? Because it's easier for them. They don't have to wait for the money, and they're going to get paid today. And all I want you to do is give me a copy of the bill with the CPT code on it. And what is CPT? That's the clinical procedure code. Okay, that's all it is. It's what did you do? All right. So there's the outpatient benefits. Okay, huge benefits. There's the next column, the outpatient daily indemnity benefits per day, MRIs, CAT scans, diagnostic testing, laboratory testing, and injections. Okay. Now let's look at the MRI, 350 or 2 units. And I always ask this, especially when I'm in a live setting, face to face, is do you think that's very good? I've had people say, you know what? It's pretty good. I had a test and it was whatever it was. And I've had people say, no, that's not good at all. I paid $1,200. I'm going to go back and show you something in a minute. Why 350 is reasonable if you know where you're going. Okay. But if you're just walking down to the local Baylor Hospital here in Dallas, you may not be very happy, okay? That's why we're helping the customer and the customer can call home office, and we'll work with them or call Caris, and we will funnel them or educate them that there's other providers in the area that are just as good, and you'll have a better outcome financially because you're not going to be overbilled, okay? Think of it this way: if you've got two, and I'm for ease's sake, if you've got two Fords, okay, Tauruses, and there's different Ford dealers in your city, and one Ford dealer is going to charge more for the exact same car with the exact same benefits. Why would you want to pay more? Does that make sense? I mean, I don't think I'm going to pay more for the exact same product if I can get the same product that's down the street. Now you might say, well, yeah, Dave, but I like that other dealership because they give better service. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy it over here at the other dealership that pays less, and I can still go to that Ford dealership and get the service. Okay, so you don't have to go where the doctor says because the doctor's got a buddy he plays golf with or whatever. Okay, all right. So let's go on. Generic prescriptions and brands. Generic $10 at 2 units. What does that mean? That means when I, as a policyholder, go to the pharmacy, one, I'm going to look for the pharmacy or based on my discount card. How much are they going to save? And I'll show you that in a second. Maybe it's Good RX. I'm not saying you have to use ours. There's others. Good RX. Actually, I found one the other day. If you've got a pen, y'all heard of Retail Me Not. Retail Me Not is a service, a web service. Retail Me Not is actually the name if you Google it. They now have Retail Me Not /RX. And you know what? I'm gonna look this up for you because I actually did it. I'm a geek. I get the stuff in the mail, and I checked it out myself. And they are actually. I looked a few medications up. And you know what, folks? They were pretty good. It's Retail Me Not RX. And bear with me. Hopefully you're going to get a pen because I'm going to give it to them. I got the card. Okay. Yeah, it's Retail Me Not RX Saver is the name of it. Retail Me Not RX Saver. Another email on the back part is RMN. That's going to be Retail Meeting Art. R for Ruth, M for Mary, N for Nancy.com /RX Saver, SAVER. Check it out. If you're on medications or whatever, check that out. They were given some better pricing than even ours, and even Good RX for certain medications. Again, agents, I'm an agent too. In 2003, I got my insurance license and kept it. You guys have all got your license to sell, even though maybe I don't sell. But our job, and we took a vow or an oath when we got our license, that we're going to be an educator, a teacher to our policyholders, to our applicants. And we were going to help them. And that's what we got to do. Not just say, you know what, good luck, go try this Good RX. It may work for you, Miss Smith. You need to work with them and teach them. And when you do that, not only have you done your job, you've built a relationship and they're going to trust you. So that's very important, okay? Here's the ER benefits. You guys can see it. We pay at 2 units, $150 for the facility, $150 for the professional. The urgent care benefits, I'll talk to you more. We are really working on partnering with some urgent care centers so that we can really get some extremely good pricing for our folks there. Folks, tell everybody if you don't know. And this is what I would do if I were you as an agent. If I'm selling to somebody, and it's even if you're on the phone and you're in Florida today and you're selling all over the country, if you're in Florida and you're selling to somebody in Nashville, okay, I would suggest that you go Google Nashville and look at where they're located. It's easy to do. Where do they live? And find an urgent care center near them and say, Miss Smith, I'll send you some information, or I want you to write this down. If you have an issue and it's a non-emergency, you're not dying, so to speak, and you cut your finger, you got the flu or whatever, and you don't want to call Teladoc. Okay, of course you can't if you cut your finger, but if you cut your finger, go to the urgent care center. Okay, these emergency room benefits, these emergency freestanding bill just like they do if you're in the hospital, and they just kill people. Even to comment on that, here in Texas, Blue Cross Blue Shield has been in a battle with a lot of these networks, and the reason is they about 6 months ago, maybe it's been a little bit longer than that, they came out and said, if we find that you're going to the emergency room and you're in our network and you go to the emergency room, and in fact, based on the diagnosis, it was not an emergency, we won't pay. We'll pay out of network. Okay? So, because why? Because people are using the emergency room as a doctor's office. It's not. It's got its place, but you cut your finger and they're open. Go to the urgent care center. You'll be a very, very happy person. They do a great job. They're doctors just like the ones at the ER. Okay, the daily emergency ambulance benefit, we got 2 benefits for ground of $500, 1 for air at $1,500. Okay, and then the last thing, under the health plan, you got the preventive care benefits, right? You got to have those. Very important. Jeff can concur with me. Yesterday I was in Houston and I was meeting with even some of the claims folks, and they say, Dave, please remind people, agents, to tell their folks that they have to wait 60 days to use the preventive care benefits. Because somebody buys the policy and they run in and have a colonoscopy, or they'll run in and have something, mammogram, and you got to wait 60 days. It says it right there, and of course they the agent never told them. But I think many agents do tell them, but you know what? People don't remember, right? They just remember they've got an appointment. So agents, I would, if I were with you, calling my client or on the line, well, I would highlight it. Whatever you need to do is say, look, Miss Smith, in order to keep the rates affordable, we had to do that because we had some people that were abusing it. We got mom with her 5 kids and was running to the doctor to get a bunch of checkups and stuff, and then cancel the plan. And you guys know that happens. Okay, so we have to keep the integrity of our pricing. And how do we do that? There's certain things that we have to put in place to avoid abuse. And guys, ladies, 60 days is not. That's too. They got to pay 2 premiums before they use it. Not a big deal. So if somebody's sitting there and they're going to have a colonoscopy, or let's say a lady's going to have a mammogram next week, and she buys the policy today, not smart. At least wait the 60 days. Again, that's not too much. What do you get? Well, for mammograms, it's $125. Is that good? Okay. And if I've asked that in meetings, I've had some women. To be honest with you, most women say, "No, that's a little light." Well, I'm going to show you where it's not a little light. if you do some of the things that we've been talking about, and we're educating, we're teaching clients where to go. You know, Dr. Smith told me to go see the whatever clinic over here, and they charge $400 or $500. Well, guess what? I'll show you some other alternatives, okay? So mammograms, $125 per calendar year. Colonoscopy without a polyp is no longer considered. It is a surgery, but it's not considered. It's a wellness because they were just a checkup. So most people have polyps, no big deal. So if they have polyps, they get the $3,000. They don't have polyps, it's $300 for the facility. There still is a surgical benefit, and then all others catch all. You know, the kids' immunizations and things, $125. Now, I'm going to show you something in just a second about this, how you can even increase these benefits, okay? And we do pay for prescriptions. We put Canada, but we'll pay if it's India, Canada, Mexico, or whatever. They can use this benefit. So how do they do it? Let's talk about that. They would go to the pharmacy, if it's Walmart or Kroger or CVS or whatever. You go in there, you show them your, you would go in there and you would, hopefully it's where the RX card is the benefit. You'll show them your RX card. I don't care if it's Retail Me Not or Good RX, and then they'll match that price. Get a copy of the prescription and what it's for. Very important. Don't send us a prescription unless we know what it's for, especially first year because there's pre-X. And then you can send that copy of that prescription into our company, claims, CLAIMS, plural, claims, and the word department, DEPARTMENT, claims department at New Air Light. You can send in claims to that email. Agents, you can also send a question to the claims people at that. You don't have to call the managers. You don't have to call Jeff or I. If you've got a claim, a question about it, how the benefit pays claims, just send an email to claims department at newairlife.com. I got a question on the Health Choice Select. I'm in whatever state you're in because some states are a little different. And here's my question. Outline your question, and our wonderful claims department will respond to you. That way you got something in writing. Okay, that's the best way to do it. Don't call them. Don't try to get on the line. That's no good. For one thing, you have no proof. Okay? If something happens later and they didn't do what you thought they said, you have no proof. This way, you've got written proof of how something is paid. I get them, and I get copies typically, and I've got a claims folder where I've got tons of responses from the agents. So you should do that too. Okay? Very important. All right. So now we're in the next section is an option. This is very important. And now this is why I like to adjust my plans, my calendar year max, and even my first day percentage benefits in the hospital. And that's where you get your extra benefit or extra premium on your plan that you can apply and add these other. We have an optional rider, as you guys can see on the screen above. It's not approved in every state yet. Where do you know if it's approved? When you log in as agents under sales forms, the current February grid, as I call it, by state is there. It'll tell you if it's approved. If it's not approved in your state, you can't sell it up. Obviously, we filed in every state. I know we're waiting on Florida, for instance. But this is an optional benefit rider. It costs about $25 for every $100 of premium. What does it do? These are additional benefits that pay in addition to the base policy. This is an additional rider. If it's in your state, agents, I can't make you do it, but I would suggest no matter what you do, how you package it, you add this rider if it's in your state. Again, it's so important. Why? Because I'll guarantee you this is the first benefit they're going to use in the plan. And if they get this works pretty well feeling, then they're going to keep it. And you're going to be happy and we're going to be happy. So what does it do? Well, remember, we paid $3,000 for a colonoscopy with a polyp. If you add this rider, it pays an additional, folks, this is on the separate rider. These are additional benefits for that polyp. We would now pay $3,000 base and $1,500 for the rider. If they had a cataract removed, if they had a gallbladder removed, if they had appendix removed, any of that stuff, we would pay $3,000 under the base and $1,500, $4,500 for the facility. And do the math on the outpatient. That's huge. Okay, we pay $4,500 on the base for outpatient 3 units plus this extra $2,000. Folks, if they're smart, they're going to put money in their pocket. That's just, I can't say it any clearer than that. Here's the outpatient benefit rider. You notice it looks the same. That's only because it is. By the way, you got the 246. What does that mean? That means you got $4,000 under the base and you got $4,000 under this rider. I now have $8,000 of outpatient benefits. Remember, 70% of our customers will use this benefit. 30% will go in the hospital. So why are we trying to overinsure and use premium dollars for the 30%? The only for the 30% that go in the hospital and ignoring the 70%. Okay, so you don't need to do that. A huge rider, very, very important. Okay, here we go. So what is it doing at the doctor's visits at 2 units? We're going to pay 80 into the base. We're going to pay 80 here. So now we're going to pay $160 when they go in the doctor's office. If they have the 3-unit plan, we're going to pay $200, 100 under the base and 100 here. That's pretty good. You guys, I know you guys, most of you people on this call have been to the doctor. And believe it or not, a $200 benefit is pretty darn good. Okay? MRI, $350 under the base and $350 under the rider. Now we're going to pay $700. Okay? You guys get my drift. These are all the additional benefits. ER, remember, we had 150 when we doubled it. So now we're paying $300 and $300. Urgent care center, there you go, $250. We're doubling the prescription benefit, and guess what, folks? We're doubling the preventive benefit. For ladies, mammograms, we're going to pay you $250 now, because we're going to pay you the $125 under the base and the rider. $250 for the kids' immunizations. Okay? Okay, that's the end of the health. Let me jump in pretty quickly. I'll stop for a second. Are there any questions where we've gone so far? Star 6, if you've got any questions.
Yes, I have one. Going back to your email to claims department at New Era Life, we could basically do that while we're in a meeting. How soon can we expect an answer from them?
Well, okay, great question. In all fairness, I think if it's morning, you may get one in the afternoon. If it's afternoon, it's going to be the next day.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so they're not going to hit you real quick. Now, I would say this, and I'm probably going to, if you've got a claims question like that, probably I'll give you my email and Jeff's email. You can email us. One of us is usually free. Okay, and let's run a trip. My email is my name is Dave Collette. So my email is the letter D for Dave, and then no spaces or anything. And this is the format of all of them. It's the first letter of your first name and your last name. So it's D, and my last name is Collett. D Collette, Collett, no E, at neweralife.com. Neweralife.com. Jeff is J, the letter J, and then Urbano, Urbano, at neweralife.com. So go to claims department. So what you may want to do is send an email to the claims department and CC one of us or both of us. And if we've got a quick answer for you, we'll answer. We can get you back pretty quick. Okay. The best thing to do, folks, if you're in front of a client and they ask you a question you're not sure, you tell them, look, that's a great question. Let me check on it. I don't want to give you the wrong answer. I'll follow up and I'll send you an email either tonight or tomorrow. Okay?
I've got a question.
Okay, I have a couple of...
Daniel, Florida, Florida. Go ahead.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. I'm sorry, I'm Tony from Florida. I don't know who else is online. My first question is you keep saying you can go to any hospital doctor, but then you talk about in-network. So you can go any hospital, any doctor, but it benefits to go in-network. So what is in-network?
Okay, I'm going to show you that. Great question, Tony. And this is the first time I've stopped here. I'm going to show you. I'll answer your question in just a minute as we move forward, okay? I promise.
Okay.
Can I ask one?
Are there any other?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got one. Yeah, go ahead. Daryl Breland. And I know we haven't gotten to the accident part yet, but with the enhanced accident, there's an extra $2,000 added to outpatient. So does that mean that if they have the optional enhanced rider where we've increased the outpatient to $8,000, does that mean they have a $10,000 outpatient benefit?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Great.
And Daryl, great to talk to you. If you'll remind me when I get through, for everybody on the call, I'll pull up the accident brochure and I'll show illustrate what you just said. Okay, so remind me, Daryl, when we get through. And thanks, glad you're here. Anybody else?
I have Daniel from Florida. Yeah, hi, this is Jeff out of Austin, Texas. How y'all doing? I just had a question about when they have this card and they go in for outpatient, it doesn't matter, hospitalization. What is that hospital identifying that will tell them that this is something that they would accept as payment versus what is the situation where they say, well, we don't take that. That customer has to pay out-of-pocket cash and then get reimbursed for all that. So
okay.
how does that work?
Okay, great question. Let me kind of explain from our side our agreement or contract. PHCS limited benefit. Y'all know there's PHCS. Actually, this plan is covered under the limited benefit network, and it shows it on there. Okay, so when you go to the website, and I'll show you that in a second, where to go look for it, it'll show you who's in network. Now, if the doctor says I don't take these, on the back of the card it says the network, okay, and it tells them how to file it. The key is this. They say, I've never heard of Philadelphia American, and that's going to be probably your number one because we're not one of the, we're not Blue Cross or Aetna or one of those. I never heard of that. Well, look, you heard of PHCS, it's on the back of the card. And all the information on the filing, on how to file it is right there. So Mr. and Ms. Doctor, you take PHCS, and it's on the card, and there's the network. Okay, so they've heard of PHCS. So you got to focus them back on PHCS, and it's on the card. That's what they have to understand. Not, I've never heard of Philadelphia American. We rent that network, so you know. That's our arrangement. We are renting our network to give access to our policyholders, and it's on the back of the card. Okay? Good question.
So in the scenario, though, where they don't take PHCS, how does that work? How often is that client required to pay out of pocket and then get reimbursed later? What does that look like?
Okay, y'all, good question. You just gave me a lead in. Everybody, look at it. Let's jump back, and then I'll go. Everybody, look at the screen. Okay, good question. Okay. Okay, so to your point, they're out of network, and they're out of network. So what happens when they're out of network? Well, let's jump into the value-added benefits, and I'll show you how Keris works if you guys haven't heard. Let me jump to Teladoc real quick. This is a Teladoc is included at no extra cost. We pay for it; it's not free. Teladoc is the 70% of all telemedicine is run or handled by Teladoc. They're huge, they're good. Again, when I signed up, or we got Doc to agree to it, he even added it for the patients. I don't know if Jeff's used it. I've used it twice as an employee. They're wonderful. They're there 24 hours, doctors, for things like I used it because what happened, I broke out with poison ivy on a Saturday night, and I wasn't going to the ER, and I have a really, really bad, I live in the country, and I've had a reaction a couple times to poison ivy, and I called the doctor on Saturday night. They said, take a picture. I sent him the picture. He said, yep, you got it. Sent me a prescription to CVS at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock Sunday morning. I was getting a prescription filled. The call was free because I'm a policyholder. I'm an employee. Okay? They're a great tool. We add that for all of our policyholders, free. There's no copay. Some companies actually add it for their employees, but they have a copay per call. We don't. We want people to use it, so the call is free. People that have flu or things like that, you don't want to go to the doctor, call Teladoc. They're wonderful. Okay, now to your point, everybody. Hopefully you can see my screen. The Keris Group. We brought them, and by the way, for you in Austin, Texas, I'm in Dallas, but for you in Austin, Texas, Keris is in Austin, Texas, and they're located over on. I always think I get it wrong. Bee Cave Highway, kind of on the southwest side, the hill country over there near 290. That's a nice area, a lot of business park over there. Anyway, Keris Group is located there. What do they do? Well, here's what healthcare assistance is done by Keris. This is weather. And by the way, it's free to the policyholder. The first thing they will do is the healthcare navigator. You got a hospital or a doctor who's not in the network, for instance, and you call these folks, and they will call and they will try to find you a network. If there's no network, they will call and work with up to 5 doctors based on what your needs are. I need an orthopedist, I need a cardiologist, whatever it is. The client can call free of charge, and they will help set up an appointment, and they will help get upfront pricing for the client. They'll help them shop. They'll tell them what the charge is. Anyway, they'll do a lot of the upfront. I like to call it concierge service. You all know what kind of word concierge service is. You go to a foreign city or in a hotel, I need a good steak place. Well, that's what Healthcare Navigator will do for our policyholders. They're wonderful. Again, it's free of charge. So they'll help with that kind of stuff. Secondly, the surgery saver. I got a carpal tunnel. I've gone to a doctor, and the doctor wants $10,000 for that carpal tunnel surgery. Okay, I call Keris. I say, look, I've been diagnosed. I need carpal tunnel surgery. I live in McKinney, Texas area. And what they will do is they will call, and I've already got a quote from Dr. Smith, and it's $20,000. And they will contact another 4 doctors, okay, including, and they will negotiate, and they will get some pricing from those other orthopedists. And well, they may or may not be in network. They're going to probably go first in network. But they will then come back to me and give me a list of doctors in the area that will do the same surgery, how long they've been doing the surgery, and their cost. So that way the client is up front and knows what's going on before they jump in the water. The last thing they do, and probably one of the most important things they do, any kind of a bill, if the client owes more than $2,500 after the claim payment, they will negotiate on behalf of the client, okay? 24.7% of the time, Caris gets that bill reduced to zero. I've got examples from agents that have sent me some examples. One was Northside Hospital. I've actually got a copy of it, and it was reduced from about $60,000 to about $5,000. I had an agent in Tampa. The kid needed I was going to say myringotomy. I think it was a tonsillectomy, but I'm not sure. But anyway, it was $12,000. The hospital in Tampa wanted $12,000, and they were able to negotiate it down to $5,000. And guess what? I think we ended up paying just a little bit over $5,000, so they actually put money in their pocket. Whereas if they had just gone to the hospital and had it done at $12,000, they would have been out up to almost $6,000. So Caris will do those things. So to your point, if the hospital's not in network, they should call Caris. In fact, I would, even if they are in network, I would call Caris and let them be your advocate of providing the concierge services, finding the right place, or surgery saver. Maybe there's other doctors in the area that are more reasonable, or the bill negotiator, okay? And I'm going to give you guys examples as we move forward, okay? Because I know you're probably chopping at the bit for that. All right, feedback from one of our managers. He had his son and daughter are insured with us, and so what happened, he wanted to move them to another doctor. He actually sent me this. Andy sent me this. So he said, I need to find a new doctor. I talked to Caitlin at Caris, told her what I needed. She provided a list of in-network providers. She called to make sure they were in the network. She provided self-pay pricing. She provided Google ratings. I love that. She scheduled the appointment because he had given her some parameters. She provided notes. I was prepared for the appointment with the provider, and she sent a follow-up email and text. It was simple and easy, and I got results better than expected. The point is, your policyholder and our policyholder is not out there by themselves. We are giving them access to services that can help them guide through this. Guys, ladies, everybody knows healthcare is very confusing and it's scary. And for us, even who've been in the business for years and years, it's not easy. So we've allowed and give them these services that are free of charge that can help them, especially for the newbie. I would do it even if it was what I have been at 40 years. I would still use these services because they help. That's why they're there. Script Save, I won't spend a lot of time. It's a prescription card. Again, agents, I'm going to go back to what I told you before. Very important that when you're talking to a client, ask them what prescriptions they're taking, okay? And run some examples. This is what I take. It's generic Lipitor. In my area, you guys can see it. And I'm not promoting Walmart. It's always the cheapest, but in my scenario, Walmart's $11.27. You guys can see. If I just say, Miss Smith, good luck, go to use a Script Save card, and she goes down there on El Dorado to CVS, guess what? It's $70.66. Miss Smith is not going to be happy. She's not going to be happy with the card, me, or trust me or the company. So again, it's a little bit of an education. You got to show people and spend some time. You're selling them a program. You're not just saying, here's some insurance, here's the card, go use it. You're going to teach them how to use it and how to be good consumers, okay? All right, so this is the place agents are going to go when you get logged in. Policyholders, you're going to tell them when you get signed up, go to Policyholder Portal, and what do they have under the Policyholder Portal? Well, the client can get a copy of their benefits if they want to take them to the provider. They can print an ID card. You know, they can't find their policy. It's 6 months, a year down the road. They're going to call you and say, hey, I need a copy of my ID card. Miss Smith, just like Geico does, just go to Policyholder Portal. It's right there. They can print it, okay? It's all right there. I would even, you know what, I even do this. A lot of people can do it now if you got a smartphone, which most do. Go take a picture of it and take the ID card off the system and take a picture of it and put it on your, on your phone. That way you've got it on the phone. I travel a little bit, and nobody prints a boarding pass anymore, do they? They have a copy of it on their phone, and that's how they get online. Well, same thing. Just take a picture of your ID card. It's right there. Okay, upper right-hand corner is where they can search for providers. That's actually the building in the middle is where we are in Houston. Okay. I'm not going to go through much of this. This is just some of the savings, and this is the network. These are examples of savings. As you can see, facilities, we happen to be in Texas, so I picked Texas, but you guys here's Philadelphia. I'll pick Philadelphia today. 67 providers in city of Philadelphia, New Jersey area, and it tells you what the average savings is. Hospitals 30%, doctors 46%, Dallas 35%. Look at Corpus Christi, 51%. About half of the hospital bills in Corpus Christi are repriced 50%. Isn't that amazing? These are some actual claims. Now, here's why the networks are. You don't have to go in network, but this is some of the samples these are actual claims. I don't make these up. Tyler's 90 miles east of Dallas. This is early 2011, and this is a carpenter that was written by one of our managers here when he first started. I cut his finger off. Carpenter cut one of his fingers off because he wasn't a very good carpenter. So anyway, this is the anesthesiologist bill, $1,785. You see the savings, $888.25, almost 50%. The actual charge is $896.75. Now, let me tell you what Doug did. Not only did he sell the health plan, he sold a 2-unit accident plan that Daryl just mentioned, and I'll show you the brochure in a second. That covers up to $4,000 for accidents. It covers an extra dismemberment benefit. In this case, if you cut a finger off, it paid an extra $1,000. So he had the accident plan, so it paid $5,000 in addition to the health plan. That's why it's important to add the critical illness, cancer, heart attack, stroke, at least $10,000, and put an accident claim on there. Especially ladies with kids. Your kids playing softball, they're playing soccer, they're going to hurt their knees and their ankles. That's where they're going to get these first dollar benefits that are really going to help them. So in this case, they're out $900 right here on the anesthesiologist. This is actually the surgeon in that scenario. His bill was $10,000, repriced down to $4,300. So we're at $4,300 plus what I say about $900. That's $5,200. Well, we paid $5,000 on the accident alone because we paid $4,000 under the base and $1,000 for the fingers. So the accident plan almost paid for the surgeon and the anesthesiologist. Again, that's an example of why these plans work. This is actually near where I live. I'm a goober. I admit that. Not a very good picture. I was driving. And this is actually across the street from where I shop. And this is Kitty Corner, we say in Texas. And this is a copy. This is a picture of Texas Health Resource had a freestanding ER, and we're there about 2 years. On the other corner across the street it's an old Bank of America that was converted to an urgent care center. They're just booming. They got 3 or 4 cars every time I go by there. This is across the street. So people are getting the message. Every time I go by there, look at this place, there'd be 2 cars in the back, which I assume were the lady at the front and the doctor, and or the man at the front and the doctor, and it was always vacant. So people are getting the message: stay out of these places. They're not good. They're just not good at all. Healthcare Blue Book. Let me go back and show you this. Healthcare Blue Book. There it is. Anybody's bought or sold a car knows Kelly Blue Book or Edmunds.com. Well, we got Healthcare Blue Book. And this is only one of the type facilities that we have an example of, but there's a lot of these now. Texas, Oklahoma, I don't know about your state, but just passed a law that said when you go to these ERs and urgent care centers and things, they have to post their prices. So not only does McDonald's and Jack in the Box and Burger King post their prices now, these facilities have to, okay? That's by law. Now, what's funny in my area, you got hospitals that started coming back and say, well, this isn't fair because those aren't the real prices that people pay because you got insurance and you got network discounts and that kind of stuff. So they started immediately backpedaling on, well, these aren't real prices. Well, no kidding, they're not real prices. Just like nobody goes and pays MSRP on a new car, right? You don't pay sticker. You negotiate. Okay, this is a colonoscopy with a biopsy in the area that I live in. What does this mean? Well, this means that the red is bad, the yellow is okay, and the green's good. Remember, if I had 2-unit plan and they do the biopsy, they find a polyp, I'm going to have $3,000 just for the facility. I'm going to get probably 2 units of surgery benefit as well. But look, if I got $3,000 for the facility and I go in this green and yellow area, I'm a happy guy. If I go over here in the red, I'm probably not happy. This is the differences in the pricing, folks, that facilities charge in my area. And as you can see, here's some of the examples below. Baylor, I pick on Baylor. Baylor, Scott and White, my area is the worst. They're just horrible, okay? So they love to bill. They love their services. And they are no better than any of these places. I went to a place in Plano. That's been about 3 years. They were $2,800 or so gross. They repriced it down about, I think it was about $1,750. Okay? So again, what are we doing here? We're making shoppers out of people. We're teaching people. You don't have to go to Baylor. My doctor says go to Baylor. I don't have to go to Baylor. Okay? These are other groups that we're working with. If you get a chance, and I'd be happy to send this to anybody with this PowerPoint. The free market, what is that? That's a group of doctors out of Oklahoma City that started about 3 years ago. Oklahoma Surgery Center of Oklahoma is the name of it at the bottom. And what happened, they are spawning all over the country. And these are doctors who are not going to be under the hospital regime that you've got, because you got 2 or 3 hospital systems in different cities that are buying up all the facilities. And these doctors said, we're not going to do it. We're going to build our own clinics. We're going to work directly with the patients, and we're going to charge reasonable pricing. That's what these people do. My buddy down there in Austin who just came on the phone a while ago, you ought to Google this. Check it out. Texas Free Market Surgery. Who are they? This is a surgical facility, and by the way, it's about 2 miles from Carousel. I think it's called Bee Cave Highway in the Southwest Corridor down there. And what you can do, you can go, by the way, anybody on this call can go out to this website, Texas Free Market Surgery Center of Oklahoma, and you can actually click on body parts, and they will give you pricing. Star Medical is in Plano, the North Dallas area, probably 15 miles from where I live. They're another, and I'll show you some really good examples. These people charge reasonable rates for procedures, okay? This is another example. This is actually an email from just recently in February. We had an agent in the Gary, Indiana, Chicago area. He wrote his nephew, and his nephew fell on the ice. And they were looking at the possibility of doing ankle surgery. Well, this is the procedure at the bottom, fibular spiral fracture. I can't say it. Syndesmotic separation, needs surgical repair. The doctor, or the St. Catherine's in Chicago, wanted $43,000 for that procedure. Now, I did look them up. They are in network, so I don't know how much they're going to reprice it. But let's say they cut it in half. Guys, half of 43 is what, about 20, what is that, 21.5, something like that, for the hospital cost, okay, 21.5. So I'd send an email to Dr. Smith, and I know people aren't going to go down to Oklahoma, Chicago, but my point is there are facilities in Chicago, and we will find them that are offering reasonable prices other than St. Catherine's. So what did Dr. Smith say at Oklahoma Surgical Center? Remember I told you about them? And this is his email, guys, $63.75 plus about $7,800 for hardware. So we're talking about $7,200. That's the cash out the door price, Dave. I'll guarantee everybody on this call that when we visited the Texas Free Market Center in Austin, one of the gentlemen who walked around said, well, how does your plan pay? And I said, well, it's 1, 2, or 3 units, or 1, 2, 3 times Medicare. He said, what's your most sold? I said, 2 units. He said, well, if you're paying twice Medicare, it's going to pay for almost every procedure that we would perform. Phenomenal group, guys, phenomenal. This is actually the Surgery Center of Oklahoma, and by the way, Texas looks the same way. They're about 15% higher for their charges. Pick a body part, and you guys can go look them up right now. We just picked a rotator cuff, $6,100. I did a knee replacement on it in a sample one day. It was just under $20,000. And one agent said that he was billed over. Now I don't know how much the net was, but it was billed over $80,000 for a knee replacement, and they're doing it for $19,700. Unbelievable. This is and these are examples of free market. By the way, if anybody's in Dallas, they have a FMMA.org, FMMA, Free Market Medical Association.org, FMMA.org. It's having their annual meeting, April 11th, 12th, and 13th in Dallas. A great group, and we're going as a company. We're going to have 2 booths there, and there will be a lot of additional new providers that we're working with. This is actually Green Imaging. They're all over the country. greenimaging.net is their website. I don't care where you are today, write it down. And if you're selling in Florida, they're down in Florida. What do? They do all these services, MRI, PET scans, CT scans, x-rays, and mammograms, et cetera. Dr. Dickerson is one of the owners, and they are very reasonable for people. They have our plan. Many times they'll pay the whole benefit, our plans will. So teach people where to go. Green Imaging, you can go look at their website today, locations all over the country. This is Solus. This is actually North Texas. There's a number of them. My wife, I take her over to the one in Plano, Solus Mammography. So she gets her mammograms done. Look, mammograms both $99, $129. Folks, remember I told you mammograms were paying $125. If you had the outpatient riders, $250. Okay, but forget that rider. The base plan is $125. Is that good? And I told you, some people say, well, no, it may not be very good. Well, I'm going to show you why it's good. So what does Solus do? Solus, this is right off their webpage. I've taken my wife there for 2 years in a row, and here's the deal. I'm an employee. Now, that means that because we're self-insured, the company would pick up a wellness benefit of. But you know what? I believe in what I preach and what I show, so I'd like to be a good steward of our company's money so that we don't get new higher deductibles or higher premiums every year. And that's one of the things as a company we're working on for our employees. So anyway, Solus Mammography, what do? I took my wife there in October. I said, when you go in, use these words. I'm going to be private pay, show them your credit card, and get a copy of the bill. That's all I ask. And she said, okay. So I said, if they ask you, do you have insurance, do not lie. Don't say no or yes. Say, I want to be private pay. That's your response, okay? So did I get a good deal? Well, this is actually an EOB from the company where I work, their employee welfare benefit, self-insured through the company. My wife, Margaret, she went in there, Solus Mammography. They paid the $99. Everybody can see right here. They said the lower $99. This was just this past October, so it's not like a long time ago. She went in. They billed her $99. Okay, we put $99 on the credit card. I took a copy of the bill. I sent it to the company, and they paid for it. Now, if I'd been a policy holder and had the plan, the health choice that I just showed you, I would have gotten reimbursed $125 because that's the benefit. And if you sold them the rider, which would pay another $125, we would have reimbursed them $250. We would have given them $250. So that means they would have put what, $151 in their pockets. I think that's right. $151 and 99 is $250. So actually, they would have made money by being a smart consumer. This is one of our managers, okay, Doug Chapman, one of our top managers actually. And he is really smart. Doug has the 3-unit plan and has a 2-unit accident. And unfortunately, he's very accident prone. Okay. These are examples of where he went. Remember I told you Star Medical in Dallas? That's where he went. He had to have surgery. Here it is. You guys can look through this and see at the bottom, the check was made out to him for $6,771.92. That's money that he put in his pocket over and above the claim payment. Okay, so he literally made $6,771. Phenomenal. This is another one up in Washington, PA, which is near Pittsburgh. These are actual samples where they were smart. They went in, and this is a Karis negotiated deal. They negotiated the $56,000, was it $379? Discount of $44. Look over there, covered charges. Now, just so you know, the $25 deductible is the Health Saver plan, the sister plan. But the amounts we pay are the same. But it has a deductible instead of the first day reduction. But it works basically the same. Okay, this person, after it was repriced, you see at the bottom, put $7,014 in their pocket. Tom told me, the manager up there said that they called him and said, I got this check for $7,000. What do I do? And they looked at the OB and they said, well, they paid the provider. You see it up there, the second line over here above the red. So they made that payment and paid the provider in full the $12,235.68. That was an overage, net benefits. That goes to the customer. They literally, folks, put in $7,000 in their pocket. Again, why would we do that? Because we're going to pay the same amount of money. If that hospital would have billed $7,000 more, we would have paid $7,000 more. That $7,000 would have gone to the hospital. But because the hospital bill was repriced and renegotiated below what the benefit was, that client literally puts the money in their pocket. That is unheard of in our industry, where people are literally putting money in their pocket. Here's another one of Doug's. He likes to get injured. One was a shoulder and one was a different one. This is the accident plan. So we paid the total benefit payable, you see, was $4,000 because they had an accident plan. Okay? And the covered charge was $1,800. So he netted about, $1,200 he put in his pocket just by having this. Okay? There's a copy of the EOB on that one. I just showed you, $67.71. So they paid the provider. This is the second payment here with a different procedure. They paid the provider there, which paid it in full. And I mean, another check. Unbelievable. Now, wouldn't you rather a policyholder put it in their pocket than put it in the provider's pocket? Again, if they're smart and they know how to shop, they'll do it. I'm almost through, so let me run through this. This is a sample that I picked out of our local Dallas paper, but you see the highs and lows. Look at this. Look at, for instance, C-sections. Can run anywhere in my area from $3,770 to $11,000. Look at back surgery. $22,000 on the low end, $129,000 on the high end. Okay? For the same procedure, folks. It's unbelievable. This is our health guy, business writer, writes once a week. He usually picks a healthcare that does once a week. And this is what neat. Okay, for years we've tried to bend the cost curve by requiring more skin in the game. Meaning people have to pay higher deductibles and copays, but it's not working. What has? A big California employer is setting a reference price, meaning a reference price like a Medicare price per procedure, and says we're not paying more. Well, now what's happening, other providers are starting to discount their charges. Why? Because they want the business. So it's a way to force, and that's a terrible word, to push providers and say, look, we need to be more competitive, okay? And the other thing, and even though I fuss about Scott and White, this is a comment by their revenue person and officer. And I love this. Patients have to understand their insurance benefits and have a plan for out-of-pocket expenses. Very, very, very important. Some people have an idea that health insurance is supposed to pay all the bills. That's not what it's designed for. So we're helping them trying to navigate a very complex ecosystem. Folks, it's very, very confusing, and we all know that. Last thing I'll show you, you see the pricing for a knee replacement? New York is $50,000, which is almost the same as Fort Worth and our
unmuted,
which is next to us.
Muted.
You see your folks in Tampa, you're 44,000, Dallas 43, so we're higher here. Houston 38, there's the average. Go down and look at Oklahoma City and Louisville. Oklahoma City, remember the Surgery Center of Oklahoma? You think that didn't play into that? So why have the same procedure? How can it go from 22 to 24,000 to 50,000 or even 49,000 in Fort Worth? Fort Worth is 30 miles from Dallas, and yet it's what, $6,000 more for the same procedure in Fort Worth and Arlington versus Dallas. Why? Because probably Dallas has more competition. Okay, on the right side, you see this is the average per capita charge that our country is paying for each citizen, 98.92, and that's how it compares to other countries. See the list of other countries. What does that mean? That means we pay more per capita for health care for our citizens in any other country, and I think we're on about we rank about 18th as far as favorable or good outcomes. That's ridiculous. Okay. I'll unmute everybody. I'm going to go to the accident plan and that you've mentioned.
Unmuted.
Okay, I've unmuted everybody. Daryl, I'm going to go and show them because I didn't show them the accident brochure. By the way, brochures and all those things are available, agents, to everyone on the agent back office. Let me see. I think this is it. So this is the new brochure. And by the way, this rider is not available everywhere, but there's a grid that'll show you where it is. So here's what Daryl was talking about. Let me show you this real quick. This is our accident plan. Here's the base plan, $204,000. Okay, it's all right there. It's all in the back office. Remember, Doug sold $4,000 to the client, right? And there's the loss of finger, $1,000. I showed you that, so it's $5,000. So this is a rider we added about 3 months ago. And it's a rider that can only be added to the 2-unit plan. Okay, and what does it do? If somebody's got the $4,000 benefit and they have an accident and they go into the hospital, okay, but they get released, so they're only on an outpatient basis, it will pay an additional $2,000 to the $4,000. That's $6,000. What Daryl was talking about, if you guys remember, But then we add that to the other benefit that's covered under the base plan, which was the ER benefit or whatever. So those are all benefits that we don't coordinate. They're all individual benefits that go to the policyholder that help pay the bill. Okay? Now, if they go in the hospital, they admit them, then you see we pay $4,000 on the base. Okay? And if they get admitted to the hospital for an accident, in that case it pays an additional $26,000. Amazing. Okay? There's the cost, not cheap, but there's the cost for it. If somebody needs those benefits, they're available. Okay? All right. Any questions? I'm going to do.
Muted.
Okay. Any questions? Again, *6. I've gone through a lot of information. I'll be happy to go through, but *6. You got any questions I can answer?
Daniel, Clearwater, Florida.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Hey, on the chemo treatment, you know, I hear a lot of people say chemo's $5,000 to $25,000 a treatment, and they look at our coverage and go, "There's not even close." So, how do you answer that?
Well, again, what you just told me was we call it in the car business MSRP, isn't it? Isn't that the manufacturer suggested? Is that the real price? Is that the final price? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And that's where I'm showing you guys, that's where you're going to want to go to get us involved. You're going to go to Karis. You're going to tell Karis, I'm in Tampa, I'm in Orlando, I'm in Spring Hill, and I need chemo. Would you find me some providers? And they will go out and they will find you providers and give you choices in your area that are options. But if you're going to go you say, I like Baylor Hospital, they're my favorite, and that's the only place I'm going to go, then, you know, it may not. You're going to pay more out of pocket. It's just that easy.
Okay.
But to your point, that's not the real price.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks.
If I can get this, I want to show you green imaging, and this green imaging is phenomenal, and they're growing. These groups are growing. Green imaging is a wonderful place. I don't know if I don't know if they do chemo or not, or radiation there. They're all over the country. I'm going to show you the map. For you Florida folks, they're pretty big in Florida. Write this down. That's Dr. Dickerson. I met her at the a couple of years ago at the convention in Oklahoma City. You see the map? For you Florida folks. I'll get to Florida in a second. Okay. They got a lot of providers in Florida. Everybody see that? There's Orlando, there's Tampa, and there's South Florida. But this is just one of the vendors. Okay. They're great. They're wonderful by the airport. Okay. So I'll send you, if you guys will email me, I'll send you a list that I put together of these type facilities, so that'll help answer your question. Okay, procedures and services. They may even do chemo there. I'm not sure, but radiology services and things. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Send me an email. I'll send this information to you. I'll be happy to get you a lot of information. We've covered a lot of things. If you'll get your license, get appointed, I'll be happy to help you, because we got lead programs that we're doing. I don't want to get into all that right now, but we got a whole lot more we haven't covered. Once you get your license, go to the website. There's a lot of information on the portal about our contest, about how our lead program works, et cetera. Okay.
Can we look at short-term wrap? Do you have time for that?
I do. Now, it's not in Florida yet. We just filed it. But the short term, what he's talking about, we do have a short term. Let me kind of give you an idea how our short term works. The goal of the short term is you cannot sell it standalone. We are not going to sell it as a standalone product. It's not good for the clients. It's not good for the policyholders. And by the way, many states have Pennsylvania, Illinois, of course, New Mexico, California. All of them said, no, we're not going to do the short term. So many states are pushing back. They don't like the fact that it's short-term coverage, that people can get left out. This is the old brochure. The new one's on the website. Here's where it works. The short-term plan is a wrap program. You have to sell the HSP or HCS with it. Okay, that'll cover the first dollar coverage. That'll help them. Then you got two choices of deductibles: $25,000 or $50,000 deductibles, and then pay 100%. They start picking up 100% after that. Again, we don't want to be in the short-term business by itself, because what do you do when somebody gets sick and they're at the end of the policy expires and they can get left out of coverage? Not pretty. So we don't like to sell only short-term. That's why we like to sell our other permanent health plans to supplement it. But not only to supplement it, they're guaranteed. If God forbid they get sick, they don't lose those coverage and can even maybe to help them bridge the fact till they get to an ACA. What I was going to do was do a kind of a quick quote to kind of give you an idea. This is what you would do as an agent. And when you do it, when you go to our quote screens, you're going to find that it will not let you quote a short-term only. You have to. We call it a wrap because it's the backstop. That's why it's a high deductible, because you're going to have some people that are going to say, yeah, but what if I have the big one? And they're just mentally they can't get over that. The what if I have the big one, and you gotta be able to provide coverage. So that's the goal. So what I would do is sell, and I'm just showing you. I'm in Texas. What I would do, because I'm going to sell let's quote this. I'm going to quote the 1 unit plan. Why am I doing 1 unit? Because, folks, I'm going to be adding see, I don't need all this because I'm going to do this. I'm going to add a short term. So I'm going to go ahead and double. All right. There it is. Let's see. Okay. So here's my quote. Okay. Okay. So I'm sorry. So this is my quote for the base plan. And I'll tell you what, I'll do a low deductible. I got some money there. Okay, so this is I did $1,000 deductible for the health plan. Okay, I'm going to select it. And then I'm going to sell the wrap. We call it. It's a wraparound. I'm going to do the $25,000 wrap. There it is. It's $79 for the short term. I'm going to move it to a year, and you notice it didn't change the premium. So I've got a short term for a year, $79. Now, if I want to go up to, and you guys, this is how it works. It's so easy. If you want to do a year plan and increase that to $1 million, it's $87. But the $1 million plan you can only have for 6 months. So if you want it for a year, which I'd like, because people aren't going to spend that much money. You give them $250 under the base, another $350,000 of coverage. Okay, so you sell a year plan at $79 a month. I'm going to add that. Now I've given them the health plan, and I've given them the wrap backstop for $157. And what can I do? Then you can throw in an accident plan if you want to. You guys see how easy it is to quote. Very easy. Throw in a 1 unit accident plan, or 2, whatever you want, 2 units. There's the premium, and I'm going to select it. So now I'm giving them a health plan, an accident plan, and a major medical 1 year, a short term up to $250. It's $189 a month for a 40-year-old. Can't beat that. Okay? All right. Any other question? Yeah, I'm here. Questions? Okay, I guess I lost. Anybody else got a question? All right, I'm going to run. Thank you, guys. Have a good day.